Alright, so today I'm gonna be finally getting this housing installed. I finally have time. I went on a little vacation and I'm back. So I've never done this before, so hopefully it goes good. It looks like I'll probably need to remove 1, 2, 3, about 3 of these clamps. This one was from the cover, but I haven't installed the cover because it broke. I did receive a new one, so once we get everything all together, we'll get it put on. Let's see. The cover's right here, and I can put a link on it. Supposedly, it's a genuine part, BRP part. It was like 170 or something, but it comes bare, no plug. If you check yours has like a padding inside. I think it's like a noise cancellation type of thing. I used to think it was for heat and stuff, but no, it's more for sound, so it gets them a little quieter. And also, I'm gonna reuse the original gasket it came with. See how that works. If that doesn't work out, I'll probably buy a new one. So first things first, I'm gonna get the belt off, and then I'll get the secondary off first, and then the primary. So I'm sure you guys have taken the belt off before, so this part I'll just fast forward. Alright, so this one's a size 17. I don't have a 17 for my impact, but I do have an 11/16, and it seemed like it fit just fine, so let's give it a try. That came out pretty easy. There is a little washer in there. So this is the washer. This goes like that. It does go a certain way, so keep that in mind. It has like a little step right here that goes in towards the clutch. So, slides right off. It's not bad. From doing this, you can kind of see the rollers in here. From the looks of it, mines are still in good shape, but it's a good way to kind of look at things. I'll make sure everything seems right. Eventually I'll have to upgrade them. So this sway bar just comes off just to get the clearance into that bolt. This one's a size 18, but it didn't fit. That worked. So I could have unloosened it from here, but all I need is the clearance here, and if that's enough, then we should be good. Let's see if we can fit in here. No. It's still gonna be in the way. So Maybe I have to get the other side off. Let me confirm though. So I went ahead and removed the other side. Same thing. So this should now move freely. And it does. Now, let's get this bolt off. Hopefully it's not a big pain to pop it off. I've seen some videos where people struggle a lot. So here's our bolts. We'll remove this, and then to get that one off, you'll need a clutch puller. I went on Amazon and got this one. Try and stay away from the cheap ones. Because the last thing you want is for this to break in there. I'm gonna use this one. I think it was in the $40 to $50 range. Can't remember exactly. I'll post a link. It had good reviews. There is like Evo, and I think Alba Racing makes some. There's quite a few companies that make this, but make sure you spend the money. But yeah, let me set up. I think I'm gonna do the bread method. Some people use grease, some people use oil. So check this out. Got my bread. So let's see how this works out. Just gonna mush some bread in there. Like I said, I've never done this. I just felt like bread was a cleaner way to do it. That way I don't have to be cleaning up grease afterwards. And if I was to be cleaning up grease and I accidentally miss a spot or something, then that's bad news. And I guess bread is a safer option in some ways. So push that in there. Put a little bit more. One more. And they also say not to use the impact, do it manually. I'm gonna try it out with the impact and see. But if you don't want to risk anything, just do it by hand. So for the tool I have, it's a size 3/4. That popped right off. That was not scary at all. Get this bolt off. so all I have to do is remove that bread from in there. And here's a primary. There's some bread there. Like I said, I've never done this before. It was a good experience. So far, everything seems well. Now, I'm gonna start removing all these little bolts and my clamps. So I'll set up for that. So I was just picking at this with the little flathead screwdriver I have, and it's extremely easy to remove, and it seems like everything's out of there. The only thing I would do is clean it a little bit with some pressured air or something. Alright, so you're gonna need a T25. There's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts for the T25, and you're gonna need a 10mm to remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 bolts. 4 of those bolts you don't have to remove, but I'll show you why I'm removing 12 bolts here in a little bit. So I'm gonna fast forward this while I take them off, and then I'll show you why. So it's almost off. The only thing is, I didn't know about, but there's 2 like wiring clamps back here. I'll show you. Maybe it's 3 of them. Let me show you where they're at. So, from the looks of it, I only saw these 2. They're just clamped on here. I didn't see this one, but this one popped right off.
Pop? Okay, this pop.
It's my little helper today. Remember about these gaskets, I went ahead and bought 2 new ones. It uses 2. And let me show you those little clamps I'm talking about. This one's. That's 1. That's 2. And that's 3. So just be aware, if it doesn't want to come off, it's those. So I got these off. It uses 2 gaskets. One goes here, one goes here, one goes on this one, but it doesn't go on this one. It goes on the housing, which is probably still on the housing. Yep, right here. So I'm gonna get it off just to make sure I got the correct sizes. I'm just gonna go ahead and replace them new since we're at it. They're only like $7 each. So yeah, I'm gonna get set up so I can show you when I remove this. So whether you're using the original housing or the aluminum cast housing, like the one I'm using, it should be the same process. Everything's the same. The only thing that changes is the material. So got it off. So you'll need to transfer this part to the other one. Just wanted to show you, these are the O-rings that I'm gonna be using. I bought them off of Amazon from this company called QuadLogic. They sent me a sticker and everything. It's nice. And then I also bought this one. This one I got from UTV Source. This one is where those other 4 bolts are, which is these. It didn't come with any hardware, so hopefully those bolts work with this. This pretty much seals this part. Well, not seals it, it protects it. So if the belt was to break, they sometimes tend to get caught up in here behind the secondary, and right in there there's a seal that goes to the transmission. If that was to break, you get a whole bunch of oil coming out from there. So this pretty much goes in here to protect that part. So it protects the seal in there. I do recommend it if you're doing this, or even if you haven't done it. The secondary is easy to come off. As you guys saw, it's just a 17 and it pops right off. You get these 4 off and you put it on there. Before, I had heard about it, but I thought it was gonna be a little bit more difficult to do. But now that I'm doing this, it's not difficult at all. So I'll wait to get to that part. That way I make sure that the housing is gonna fit correctly in there. And the other thing, the O-rings. Oh, we'll get to the O-rings. All I have to do is make sure they're around the same size. And this part that I removed will go right back on to there. Yeah. So I got my little helper wondering where things go. That goes in there. Take it off, put it in here. So I start getting this back on there. Actually, the hardware is gonna change. So this housing came with new hardware that we're gonna be using. They also send a diagram, and it tells you it's labeled. So the new ones for this one are gonna be my number ones. So this one's 3, this one's 1. It comes with a 2 and a 4. So let's get started with the ones. It looks like the T25 fits it enough to get them started. And then I'll get a proper Allen wrench. So that's all set. I did have to play with it a little bit. The fitment wasn't exact, but I got it to work. And here are my so this one looks exactly the same. This one not as much. So I'm not sure what to do. Maybe I'll just reuse it, because this one seems just a lot thicker. So at first I was like, oh, maybe it'll stretch on its own, but now that I'm looking at it, one is thicker than the other. I don't know if you can tell. I'll probably reuse the original. I will swap this one out since this one is exactly the same. It's just, it is what it is. So we'll keep going. I almost forgot, but here's one of the O-rings. This O-ring goes here. The other O-ring that covers this side goes on the housing itself. So I'll put that on now. Alright, now we're ready. Let's try this again. I'm trying to get some clearance with the hoses so they're not in the way. So the more space you have, the easier it should be to work with. So the only one that's getting in the way is this one back here. Should be able to manage. Alright, so I didn't notice that it stopped recording. I ran out of memory. So I had to clear some memory, but we're back on it. Pretty much where it left off, all I did was insert a few to hold it in place. And then this hose that goes in the back, kind of attaches up like this, kept getting in the way. So all I did was undo the clamp on top of it so it can release it. It wasn't letting me push it all the way back in. So I got, what is it, 5 of them installed, 5 of them bolts. So right now all I'm doing is putting these bolts on. And I'm doing it by hand first because it still has some play to kind of adjust to make sure it goes where you want it. So that's where we'll leave it. I'll get them tight now. So I didn't find the torque specs on all these, so I just did it hand tight. You don't want to over tighten because it is aluminum. So let's get these off. Now we grab this one. The reason I went with CRP is mainly because it was on the cheaper side. I know Evo makes one. There's a few other ones. Alba was out of stock. The Alba one, I think it's red, so it looks kind of nice. But I went with this one. It was a cheaper one in stock. So for what it does, I mean, you can't go wrong with any of them. The only thing I didn't like was the hardware. It didn't come with hardware. There was some that did come with hardware, but not a big deal. If I can reuse the same hardware, we should be okay. So I'll get these on. As I get closer to getting them tightened, you do have a little bit of play here, and just try and get it centered as much as you can. I'll do the rest by hand, just because with the hand you get a better feel on how tight they're going. There we go. And then of course you want to make sure it's not hitting anywhere. So I didn't record when I was putting these back on, the clamps, because I didn't want you guys to see me struggling. They're pretty simple, straightforward. The only thing is you really do have to mess with them to get them to go back in. My trick is to use a little bit of water with soap, just so they can slide better in there. So since it is different, it won't go all the way down. You could clip those off, but it'll give you like another like half an inch, maybe less, to go back down. But it does have a lip. It went down the lip that it has, so I'm not too worried of that coming out. Same with this one. The only one that really did go in was the middle one here. This one I did clip those little two like bunny ear thingies, just to get it to go in a little bit more. But it seems like we have everything all set. So before I put my clutches on, I got my pressured air. Just wanna make sure there's no leftover bread in there. And then my clutches are pretty dirty, so I'm gonna give them a quick clean before I get them back on there. And let's see, I think I got some Scotch-Brite. Give them a little cleaning with this, kind of rough up the inside here. So right in there, try and get in there pretty good. Since I have them off, I'll clean them up really good before I get them back on. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. Alright, so got my clutches all cleaned up. Now it's time to get them back on. So I'll start with this one. And then here's my bolt and washer. Nice and slow. So there's two sets of threads. This is the second one. And it's 90 foot-pounds that we're gonna torque it to. So let me get my torque wrench. So 90 foot-pounds. grab something so it gets stuck right there. So I'm gonna try putting a screwdriver in one of these holes here. See if it holds. So that worked. Now we're gonna take our secondary, place this one in. There we go. So got my bolt. Just gonna add a little bit of the Loctite. So one's originally it's a size 22 and a size 19. I got away with using an 11/16 for this secondary, and for the primary I got away with using a 7/8. I don't have a 22. Alright, so this one torque specs is to 52 foot-pounds. No big deal. So I'm gonna get it to bite on one of these teeth right there. There we go. Alright. Once we got that done, let's get the belt back on here. So I'm not a professional, so I may do some stuff wrong. And I'm okay with that because that's how we learn. Alright, let's get this turned on, see what happens. Alright, so I test drove it already. Everything seemed fine. So I'm gonna start putting this gasket back on. I'll probably do a hyperlapse for all this. After I get it installed, I'm gonna get the cover. Just wanted to show you guys this that was sent to me. So it comes with different bolts, so all the number 3s will go there, and then there's 2 for the cover that are different, which is this number 2 and this number 2. Those are the only ones that change. So I'll probably, if they all look the same, I'll probably try and paint these so I always remember that these 2 go there. But let's get this on. So before I put the last one on, the only real difference is that they provide 2 short ones. And these longer ones. So that's the only real reason. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark these a certain color so I know or remember. So I had one of those silver Sharpies. So mark those 2. I'm pretty sure I'll remember, but you never know. There we go. Make sure they're all nice and tight. Okay. So I just have to transfer the drain plug and we're all set. So overall it's been an easy install. I do still need to install this one that goes there, but we're pretty much all set. Hopefully you guys found this video useful. Easy enough. Like I said, it's my first time. Everything went smooth, so see you on the next video. It's all placed back together. I did run into an issue here at the end. So here's one of those little small bolts that it comes with, and then look at this. So unfortunately it kind of messed up the thread in the bolt, or where the bolt goes, so it wouldn't tighten anymore. But what I saw was that this little thing was at the tip, so that means the bolt is barely going in. So what I did was I grabbed a little longer bolt, and what I had to use was I glued 2 washers together. It's the same size bolt thread wise, and it's a 10, so it will match with all the other ones. I took it off and I measured it with this one of the regular ones, and it's the same size. So all I did was I got 2 washers and I glued them together, because it does have good threads, but they're deeper in. So I was able to get it to work. So be careful with them, at least for the 2 that come smaller, because only the tip reaches the part here, so it's easy to mess it up. But it's no big deal. Eventually, if these mess up any of the other ones, I'll just go with the quick pin release ones. I'll just drill these out, and it'll be way better than having to take each one off when you're changing a belt. But we'll run it like this for now. I do have it on my list to eventually upgrade to just a quick disconnects. That way we can get this cover off and on pretty easily. But for now, that's what it looks like. So, alright guys, thanks for watching again.